Hi students, and welcome to today's live Ielts class. My name is Adrian, and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Budapest. I hope everybody has had a good start to their week, is staying healthy and strong. In this class, everyone, we are looking at the speaking section of the IELTS exam, specifically focusing on part 1, talking about how to get those high band scores, even that band 9. Hi, Michael Fan, long time no see. Good to see you in class. Hi, Nirmaljit, Rimshaw, Shiro Jidin. While we wait for some more of your students, this lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com. For academic IELTS help, please visit us there. For IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. On both of our websites, we have loads and loads of great materials for you to quickly improve through communication and through English, meaning vocabulary and grammar. Hi, Bisser. Hi, Kyber. Hi, Madiha. Nice to see many of our members coming into the class as well. Students, this is a speaking class, so make sure to speak and repeat. Speak lots and repeat lots. It's great that you're writing messages into the chat. Keep doing that. That's fantastic practice. Since this is a speaking class, make sure to say what you write as well, especially when I'm making some corrections in real time. All right, just a quick peek at our websites here really quickly. This is our academic IELTS website here with the blue background. Click that big red button to join the premium package. And this is our general IELTS website here with the green background. Click that big red button to join the premium package there. And because this is a speaking class, I want to show you where you can practice your speaking for free. I'm just going to darken up the screen here a bit so you can see this clearly. So when you're on either of the websites, you can log into your My Student account after you create one. You can create a free account. You don't have to pay. And then on the website, you'll find this button among the many other goodies called Student Partner Speaking. Now in Student Partner Speaking, when you click that, it will ask you to agree to the terms that you're going to be nice with other students. So you have to accept that. And then into a new window, you will travel. And when that window opens, you'll see some students available for chat. Like right now, we see Fazil and we see Sammy in here. Maybe they're chatting with each other. When you find a student in there, you can either audio chat, video chat, or text only. Of course, be really careful with your private information. So use the speaking scripts that are provided for you in this interface. You can see there are IELTS speaking scripts that you can open up. And then it will open for you when you find a partner that you can chat with, kind of like Skype or WhatsApp, okay? So that's absolutely free for everybody to use. That's kind of a feature that we included because we really want everybody to speak as much as possible. And I know it's hard to find speaking partners. So this is a place where you can always find someone. Just keep the window open, wait for somebody to ping you or ping another person, and then you'll be able to find some other people. There's usually people in here these days, so check it out. All right, let's get back to the lesson for today to practice our speaking. All right. Yeah, Kyber, I'm feeling great. Thanks for asking. I'm well rested, feeling good. All right, so here we go with some speaking. If you have questions, of course, you can send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com. Let's get into today's class. We'll have classes all the way till Saturday. So today, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday. So lots of classes coming up. Let's get cracking. Let's get right into it. I know a lot of students are anxious and they just want to get going. So let's do that. Here we go. You arrive to your IELTS speaking interview. Make sure to go there early, at least 30-40 minutes before your interview starts. Speak English all day before your interview. And then you will get called in by the examiner, and the examiner will greet you, and they'll say, welcome to the speaking portion of the IELTS exam. My name is Adrian. I will be your examiner for this part of the test. What is your full name? And again, practice lots of ways to say this, practice it all the time, so you feel really confident and comfortable when this question is asked. It will be asked, there's no doubt about that. So Rimshaw says, my name is Rimshaw Faruqi. Please call me by my first name, Rimshaw. Very nice, Rimshaw. Simple, elegant. Khyber Maman says, my surname is Maman and my given name is Khyber, so please just call me by my given name, Khyber. Very good. Bisser says, my surname is Demirdziev and my given name is Bisser. Please call me by my first name, Bisser. Okay, all right. Yeah, somebody on one of the videos mentioned that, oh, you don't need to say my first name is, my surname is. You should just say, I'm Andrew Jameson. Please call me by my first name, Andrew. Both are okay. There are so many different ways that we introduce ourselves. So yeah, if you want to keep it a little bit simple, you feel comfortable saying, I'm Andrew Jameson, please call me by my first name, Andrew. That's fine as well. You can do it that way. We greet each other that way in English commonly. We'll say I'm. But in formal situations, especially when we're meeting with an official, for example, customs officer at the airport, or in this case, the examiner, it is a formal way to say that my first name is, my given name is. You will see this in my passport. So it's a more formal way. They don't know who you are. You're not really their friend or their acquaintance. This kind of an introduction, it's a little bit more common when we're familiar with the person. At least we kind of know who they are through a friend. Like, this is my friend Tim. Hey, Tim. Hey, who are you? I'm Adrian. Okay, so that's a little bit more of a casual way, all right? But it's okay. You can do it that way too, and I recommend practicing that as well. So there are many ways to introduce yourself. Keep that in mind. Practice lots of different ways to do it so that you feel confident and comfortable, okay? Definitely don't make mistakes, okay? Don't sound awkward or unnatural when you introduce yourself. And then the next question will be, can I see your identification? Okay, sometimes they'll ask for that first, even before they ask for your name. Sometimes they'll ask for it after they ask for your name. There's no standard here for the examiner which to do first and second. So they'll say, can I see your identification? Here you have to show the identification that you used for registration. And Muskan Rana says, yes, here's my passport and you can check it. That's nice. Okay, now when I'm saying this, students, please copy my speed and my intonation. Okay, Muskan, so yes, here's my passport and you can check it. All right. Roman Baral says, yes, here you go. I use this for registration. Say the word this, Roman. So I use this for registration. When you're referring to what's in your hand, I used it. A little bit awkward. I use this for registration. Okay? Or say what it is. I use this ID for registration. I use this passport of mine for registration. Hina says, yes, sure, here it is. I use this passport for registration. Please take a look. Okay? Shashireka says, yes, here's my passport. Go ahead and check it. Okay? You can check it. It's okay. Could sound a little bit awkward. So, yes, of course, is kind of a very natural lead-in to this. Yes, of course, because you have to show it. If you say, no, I don't want to show you my ID, they'll say, okay, no problem. There's the door. I'm sorry, you can't sit the exam. So you have to show it. Okay, so yes, of course, here is my national ID card that I used to register. Please take a look. Okay, it's affirmative, it's polite. Repeat after me. Can I see your identification? Yes, of course. Here's my national ID card that I used to register. Please take a look. You don't have to say for this exam. Obviously, that's clear as well. But if you do, that's fine. All right. Now, a very common kind of icebreaker question is coming up. Here, the examiner will say, Okay, now I will give you instructions for each parts of the speaking. For part one, a couple of questions to get to know you better, and some questions on a general topic. Do you work or study? Now, the examiner will be very natural. This is not an ESL exam. Okay, don't make that mistake. Ielts is not an English as a second language exam. It is a national or international standardized test of English. So they are talking to you just the same as they would if a native speaker were in the test, which happens, by the way. Okay. So the question is, do you work or study? Let's see what people have come up with. So Kyber says, currently I'm studying ACCA at American University in Kabul as I want to work as a business analyst in the future. Very nice, Kyber. Good answer, good explanation, to the point. Beckjohn says, recently I've done my bachelor's degree in the occupation of engineering, and now I'm studying for Ielts so that I can continue my graduate education abroad. Beckjohn, that's good. So it's okay to give lengthy answers like what Beckjohn just did. What's really important, students, is that if you're giving a robust answer, robust means a very detailed, clear answer like Beckjohn, you need to be fluent. Okay, you need to be fluent. So it should not take you 30 seconds to say that. So again, Beckjohn, that's great. Just make sure that you can say it with this fluency. Recently, I've done my bachelor's degree in engineering, and now I'm studying for Ielts so that I can continue my graduate studies abroad. Okay, good. Let's see a couple more. Abhishek says, well, I'm working with one of the finest IT companies in the Ahmedabad as a senior technical consultant, but also I'm preparing for this IELTS exam for the last 6 months so that I can fulfill the basic requirement for admissions at in a university in Canada for further study. Good, Abhishek. Again, lots of fluency there to get that out, right? I've been preparing for this IELTS exam. I would use the present perfect progressive there, Abhishek. Hi, Eugene. Nice to see those emojis. Always give me a little extra pep in my step. Very good. Amit Hassan says, recently I've completed my bachelor's and now I'm preparing for my postgraduate abroad, and that's why I'm taking this exam. Amit, very nice. Yeah. So you can use a correlative conjunction, and as I've said before, well, I both work and study. You can directly use the question. Now, students, it's really good to paraphrase in the speaking. Paraphrasing, as many of you know, means to say the same information using different words. So you could say something like, well, I have a job and I go to school, right? So this would be paraphrasing. Will this kind of answer or start to the answer get you a better mark than this? Yes, absolutely. So you're showing more lexical resource, more comprehension. So this will get you more points than this. However, in the beginning, I definitely do recommend for many students to use the question even as directly as you hear it. So if the question is, do you work or study? Then, well, I both work and study. The reason why you want to do that in the beginning is because it helps you to build your confidence going into the next questions. It helps you to show your fluency early, okay? It allows you to get comfortable with the situation. So I don't recommend students to be too fancy with paraphrasing right away unless you know that you're a very high-level user of the English language, you speak in English daily, you're comfortable with it, you've studied it for years, then fine, paraphrase right from the beginning. But if that's not the case, then I definitely recommend that for the first 2, 3, especially icebreaker questions, just use the vocabulary that's in the question to start off, okay? So here, do you work or study? Well, I both work and study. And then you can paraphrase after. Okay, I'm going to go at the end here. So I have a job as a financial consultant at a local bank here in the city. And also, I've been learning for this exam to do my MBA in the UK. Okay, so just before we go on to the next set of questions here, students, just a little tip. It's kind of a new one that I might not have mentioned for you. Okay, so for the first 2-3 questions, use the question vocabulary in your answer right away to show fluency, accuracy, and to gain confidence. Okay, I hope that makes sense for everyone. All right, okay. Baljinder, I think you had a question. I'm not sure if it was for me. If I missed somebody, you can always send me an email. Students, keep in mind there's a couple hundred of us in here, so it's hard for me to catch everyone, but I promise I'll try to catch different people at different times. All right, so the next question here. Give me a nice full sentence. What do you do to relax? Okay, what do you do to relax? And I see Muskan Rana is jumping the gun. Muskana says to feel relaxed. Let's go back to what you just said. Give me a second. So Muskan says to feel relaxed, I usually listen to music and gossip with my friends, and sometimes I try to do something different or new at home, such as during the quarantine, I've been improving my cooking and drawing skills. Okay, Muskan, you have a lot of information there. Make sure that you say it clearly, okay? So to feel relaxed, I usually listen to music. It's good. You're using the question. Not have some gossip, but simply gossip. Gossip is a verb, Muskan. So you just simply say, and gossip with my friends. And then avoid using the words sometimes, something, thing. So try to avoid these words, students, because they make for poor conversation or for poor communication, okay? So try to use better nouns, and often you don't need that word, okay? So Muskan, you don't really need that word. You can just say, I gossip with my friends, and try different and new activities at home, especially during the quarantine. I've been improving my cooking and drawing skills. It just sounds much nicer. It's more clear for the listener, okay? So avoid these ambiguous types of filler adverbs like sometimes or something, okay? Maksud, our member, nice to see you in class, Maksud. Maksud says, well, if I'm feeling energetic, I'm really into playing table tennis with my younger brother in my leisure time. However, when I'm on the lazy side of life, I just curl up on the sofa and watch a fantastic flick. Very nice, Maksud. Notice the corrections there. Nice use of some natural and idiomatic language, Maksud. Good job. I know you've been practicing lots, and it's showing in the way that you're using the language. That's fantastic. Okay. Boomy Chatbar says, to decompress, I mostly go to the park for a walk for about an hour, or watch movies on my phone while laying in bed after a long working day. Just yesterday, I watched the Avengers movie, and it was fantastic. Very nice, Boomy. I like how you threw in that example at the end. Giving nice, smooth examples to what you're saying is a very good idea. It's a very, very good idea. Okay, sometimes students ask me, like, how many examples should I give while I'm giving these answers? I'd say at least every second question in the part 1 and part 3. And even in part 2, when you're explaining something clearly, it's a good idea to at least get one clear, visible, real-world example into your 2-minute answer for those questions in part 2. So examples are really good. Make them flow smoothly, clearly, logically. Avoid words like for example or for instance. You don't need these. Avoid these. They can cause some problems, okay? Lee Pham says, sometimes I spend my free time listening to music, which helps me relax after a stressful day at work. Or I read books, which both help me to spread knowledge and take a rest. Okay, not spread knowledge, but gain knowledge. Gain knowledge. Spread knowledge is a little bit awkward there, Lee, so careful with that. Okay, nicely done, students. Keep going. So in order to unwind after a challenging day, if I still have a bit of energy in me, I'll hit the gym for an hour and do some weightlifting as well as cardio. However, if I'm feeling a bit sluggish, I'll take a hot bath and watch a movie. This is what I did yesterday, and I watched Call of the Wild. It was entertaining. Okay, cool. All right. So again, nice and fluent, students. Nice and fluent. Visualize it. The more relaxed you are, the faster the ideas will come to mind, the better your language. So being relaxed, students, during the speaking part of the exam is extremely important. When you're relaxed, you communicate much, much better. Just think about it as you are on top of the world. There's nothing that can stop you. You're an incredible human being. You're one of the most amazing living creatures in the known universe. So believe in yourself. Okay, here we go. Repeat after me. What do you do to relax? In order to unwind after a challenging day, if I still have a bit of energy in me, I'll hit the gym for an hour and do some weightlifting as well as cardio. However, if I'm feeling a bit sluggish, I'll take a hot bath and watch a movie. That is what I did yesterday, and I watched Call of the Wild. It was quite entertaining. Okay, all right, there were a couple typos there. I'm not going to go back to those right now. You probably saw those. That's why it's usually better, students, to just repeat me rather than read what I'm writing, because as you know, I'm looking at what you're saying in the chat. I'm thinking about the next ideas to share with you. I'm typing at the same time, moving a mouse around. So I'm doing a bit of multitasking, you could say. And so sometimes I have typos. So if you have it in you, if you feel confident and comfortable, try to just repeat what you hear from the audio rather than just read. Okay? So rather than just read. All right. So you're moving along nicely and you're gaining some steam. Your momentum is building. You're confident. And now the examiner introduces the topic of part 1. Okay? All right. So the examiner says, let's talk about outside and inside activities. These kinds of topics are very popular. You could really easily face these kinds of questions in the exam. So here we go with the first one. What do you like to do in your home? What do you like to do in your home? Give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. What do you like to do in your home? Alex Joseph says, well, when I'm in my home, I do a lot of gardening, which energizes me with the smell of fresh plants. My other hobby is watching documentaries online. And if I get a bit bored, I do some knitting. Okay, Alex, right on, knitting, eh? All right. Yeah, so Alex, you have a bit of a green thumb. Okay, students, that's a kind of a fun expression I can teach for some of you. I know many people have gardening as a hobby. If you like to garden, and you are good with plants, the expression is have a green thumb. Okay, so you can say, I have a green thumb. I like to garden. All right. Just a little share for you there. Okay, let's see what other answers students have come up with. Justina Mardanova says, well, when I'm at home, I like to clean and read books. Also, I love to cook in the kitchen. All right, that's good, Justina. Now, students, when you're listing the activities that you like to do, it's a good idea to include at least a little bit of explanation or at least a little bit of an example, or maybe both, to give a more rounded picture. Also, Justina, careful with your tense. It's not I'd like to, because it's not an unreal condition. You like doing this, so I like to, okay? So careful with those. Okay. Amrit Sathpathi says, sitting at home without any work in hand isn't kind of my nature. I tried to finish my day-to-day householding works as soon as possible. Amrit, you're telling me a bit about yourself, but I'm not sure you're answering my question, okay? Careful about that, students. You don't just want to talk about yourself and not answer the question that you're being asked. At the end of the day, it's an exam, and coherence and accuracy are extremely important. And this is why I suggest using the question. So while I'm at my house or when I'm in my flat. So start with that just so you focus and center yourself on giving a clear, direct answer to the question. Okay. Irene Domingo says, most of the time I like to do cooking at home. I like cooking because it's one of my passions. Like today, I cooked my favorite food, which is chicken curry. It's made with coconuts and potato. Irene, that's a brilliant answer. So Irene's answer is definitely getting up into the band 8 category because she's giving me an answer, she's explaining, and she's giving me an example. Okay, so that's really, really good. That's what you want to do. All right. So what do you like to do in your home? There are a few different activities I like doing in my flat, such as yoga, because a good stretch makes my day go much more smoothly. Also, I enjoy cooking because I'm a foodie, and as I'd mentioned, I like watching movies. Okay, so there's my answer. Repeat after me. There are a few different activities I like doing in my flat, such as yoga, because a good stretch makes my day go much more smoothly, much smoother. Also, I enjoy cooking because I'm a foodie, and as I'd mentioned, I like watching movies. Foodie means that you enjoy food, making it, eating it, smelling it, tasting it, okay? Next question, coming up. Let's build some momentum. What do you like to do outside? Not a surprise that that question's coming when the examiner introduced the topic of inside and outside. So what do you like to do outside? Okay. All right. Beckjohn says, usually the activity I like to do outdoors is taking a stroll in the park near my home, which helps me decompress a little. Also sitting on a bench in the vicinity of my apartment. What do you do on that bench, Beckjohn? Just sit there, stare into space? Give me a little bit. Kyber says, oh, there we go, Beckjohn, and chat with neighbors. It's my favorite outside activity. I see. Okay, Kyber says, when I'm outside, I like to go to the library, search for a good book there in order to read in my leisure time when I'm at home. In fact, I purchased 3 books. The Old Lord of the Rings, Pride and Prejudice, and Harry Potter last Tuesday for $50. Very good, Kyber. Okay, don't go off topic though. Careful with that. Nicely done with the quantitative information. It's another important point. Always remember your quantitative information. Rahul Preet Mongar, member, nice to see you in the class, says there are so many activities I do outside my apartment, such as hitting the gym, as I'm very much health conscious. Like yesterday, I did a couple of reps and squats with my brother. All right, Rahul Preet, you're really going down that rabbit hole, which is good. But when you introduce your answer with there are so many activities, maybe give me at least 2, okay? Don't get just hung up on one and go into tons of detail. It's not bad, but definitely try to give me another one. Maybe you ran out of space in the chat box, but definitely give me one more. Hi, Naresh. All right. Patricia Nicole says, I like to do outdoor activities like mountain climbing and sunbathing. There's a really nice beach near my home where I spend 30 to 40 minutes laying in the sun, reading a magazine every other day. Okay, Patricia, good. Little bit more information for sure. So students often ask, how much should I speak, or should I keep talking until the examiner stops me? No, please don't do that, okay? That makes for a really awkward conversation. So don't just keep talking until the examiner stops you, but also don't just give a one-sentence answer or one-word answer. Your responses, especially for Part 1 questions, should be roughly the amount of information you can fit into one chat here on average in the YouTube chat box. That's about, I think it's about 200 characters, guys, right? If I'm not wrong, girls, yeah? 200 characters. So that's about how much you should be answering to show some good fluency, lexical resource, and so forth, grammar range, okay? So it should be about that. Definitely don't keep talking until they stop you, okay? So what do you like to do when I'm outdoors? I enjoy several activities, like taking my family to the beach, going surfing, and in the wintertime, skiing. Just last week, we spent a wonderful day at the beach, playing all kinds of sports in the sand. All right. So here we go. Repeat after me. What do you like to do outside? When I'm outdoors, I enjoy several activities like taking my family to the beach, going surfing, and in the wintertime skiing. Just last week, we spent a wonderful day at the beach playing all kinds of sports in the sand. Okay. Again, whatever comes to mind, don't overthink it, students. Don't overthink it. So just a little bit to remind some students who are not sure about this, because I know there's misinformation out there, and some people say just keep talking until the examiner stops you. That's really awkward, and that's not going to go over well to get those high band scores. So do not keep talking until the examiner is forced to ask the next question and interrupt you. Interrupt you. That makes for very awkward conversation, and it will lower your band score. Okay. You should say about 2 to 3 sentences. Answer, explain, example. That's what should be in your mind most of the time. Okay, that's what you should be thinking. All right, let's keep going here. Lots of good questions for you today. Here we go. Next one. How often do you go outdoors for fresh air? Pay attention to the object of the question. okay? It's not just how often do you go outdoors, but how often do you go outdoors for fresh air, okay? Give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. And Wango says, I seldomly do so. I barely create time for it since I usually have a very busy schedule, which keeps me indoors. Okay, so and some people work outdoors, don't forget, right? So some people are always in the fresh air. So give me a little bit more information, Anne, because Anne, I don't know who you are. So if you're working in an office indoors, and that's why you don't have time to go outside, you need to tell me that and use the question. So I seldomly go outside. I barely have time for this since I'm usually very busy with my day schedule working in my administrative job indoors, and it's a very high building, so I don't even have windows that I can open. Okay, something like that, and so give me a little bit more clarity. Okay, the other really important point, students, when you have the word often and you answer with seldom or rarely or always, give a number after. Okay, so I seldomly do so, maybe only about 30 minutes a day if I'm lucky. Okay, that gives me a lot more information, a lot more clarity as your listener. Okay. Peya Basak says, to enjoy a refreshing breath of air, I regularly go to the nearby Sector Park in the morning, which is only about 1 kilometer from my apartment. I sit there and look around the greens and stroll around the park to relax and breathe in the fresh air, right? So it's the fresh air that's the object. That's what you want to emphasize. All right. Fabrians says, I enjoy fresh air while jogging 3 times a day. Just like yesterday, I was jogging with my neighbor and having a chit chat. Very nice, Fabrians. So you're enjoying the fresh air while you're doing some outdoor activity like jogging, and you're doing it 3 times a day, which is amazing. Okay, morning, noon, evening. Wow, 3 jogs. I never get 3 jogs in. But that's a good answer. Okay, I like how you used quantitative language. Tamonish Nandi says, I go for about an hour of fresh air each day. I like to relax on the benches in the park near my home. I also go for a stroll. I even go out with my friends and walk for about 1 kilometer. Okay, Tamonish, not bad. Couple of corrections there, but good use of quantitative language. Okay. Ankit Chira says, when I feel very sad and feel very depressed, then I go to get some fresh air because it gives me a kind of sense of relaxation and a lovely feeling. So Ankit, how often is that? Hopefully you don't feel sad very often, but again, the question is how often. So it's not when do you go for fresh air or where do you go for fresh air, it's how often do you go outdoors for fresh air, okay? In the real world, students, we often don't communicate clearly with each other. But in the Ielts exam, you really have to work on that. And this is the reason when I coach native speakers who take the Ielts exam, this is what I emphasize for them, is you have to be really careful with the accuracy of your answers. We all make mistakes, but it's certainly not just a casual chit-chat that we have on the daily basis, and we often miscommunicate or do not communicate clearly in our daily conversations. However, on the Ielts exam, to maximize your score, here you have an examiner that doesn't know who you are, they're listening to what you have to say, and you need that examiner to have as much clarity as possible. So you have to pay extra attention to what the question is and what your answer is, and make sure that those line up and match each other directly, okay? So I know I get emails and comments on YouTube videos sometimes from very high-level students who said, oh, I have really good English and I still just got a 7. What happened? And always in my head, I'm thinking, well, you probably weren't answering the questions directly enough. You were going off topic or you were generalizing, right? So be really careful about that. So I frequently go outside for a breath of fresh air. at least twice a day. Once in the morning when I go for my 8K run around Market Island, and then again in the evening when I go for a stroll with my daughter. Okay, so again, very direct. Okay, frequently, often. Adverb of frequency, frequently. Okay, how often is that? Twice a day. When is that? Once in the morning when I go for a run. The other time, again, when I go out in the evening for a stroll. Okay, be specific, use adjectives, give details. Then you'll get those high band scores. Repeat after me. How often do you go outdoors for fresh air? I frequently go outside for a breath of fresh air, at least twice a day, once in the morning when I go for my 8K runs around Market Island, and then again in the evening when I go for a stroll with my daughter. Okay. All right. Now the questions, of course, do increase in complexity as you go further into the interview. And here is the next question. Okay. Where do you prefer relaxing, in your house or out somewhere, and why? Right? So where do you prefer relaxing? In your home or out somewhere? Charlie, our member, says, I prefer to relax in my home listening to music with my audio system because I really like the environment of my room. I turn on my foot lamp in the room, sit on an easy chair, and listen to some smooth music, which, okay, Charlie, and you're going still, which is okay. Don't keep talking too much, though. It sounds like you're getting into a bit of repetition, so careful with that. All right. Ashley Vlogs says, I prefer relaxing at home because I'm an introvert. I recharge myself by staying alone inside and just watching movies or listening to classical music. I also love to stay home and bake some pancakes. Ashley, you're right after my own heart. I'm a Canadian. I love my pancakes. That's great. Nothing like some buttermilk pancakes. All right. Let's see some more answers. Mr. Jamal says, I usually prefer going outside in the evening to a park, which is located near my home. I think the park is suitable for meeting friends outdoors and doing some exercise rather than staying all cooped up inside. Mr. Jamal, repeat after me. Rather than staying all cooped up inside. Staying all cooped up inside means that you're kind of curled into this little ball and you're just really staying indoors, okay? So rather than staying cooped up inside, I think a lot of people have been cooped up indoors because of all the lockdowns that were going on. YouTube Roshan says, I would rather prefer relaxing outdoors. It's because I get to meet my friends outside somewhere and we can get in some quality conversation. Okay. All right, not a bad answer. Notice my corrections as well. Sammy Rocky, our member, says, I prefer relaxing at home because I feel lazy. And when I'm tired, I just lie down and have sound sleep so that my mind is refreshed. Like yesterday, I had a really long nap. Okay, Sammy, you like your sleep. I don't know if sleep is relaxing. I think it's one step beyond relaxing. It's actually resting, right? Relaxing is not really sleeping. It's more just doing something that's recharging your batteries, okay? So I prefer to chill outdoors with my family and friends rather than inside. Not only because I've been cooped up for the past 3 months due to the COVID crisis lockdown, but also since I like fresh air and outdoor activities like barbecues in the park and kicking around a football. All right. So be original, use your current content and context of situations. I'm sure a lot of us have spent quite a bit of time at home these days. So now in many parts of the world, it's summertime, of course. So being outdoors is preferable in many parts of the world. All right, so here we go. Repeat after me. Where do you prefer relaxing, in your house or out somewhere? Why? I prefer to chill outdoors with my family and friends rather than inside, not only because I've been cooped up for the past 3 months due to the COVID crisis lockdown, but also since I like fresh air and outdoor activities like barbecues in the park and kicking around a football. All right, now some of you might be thinking, Adrian, isn't that a little bit too colloquial, like too casual, slang-like, to say something like, I prefer to chill outdoors? It's fine. It's absolutely fine, especially in part one. Part one questions in the speaking, they're usually casual questions. They're asking about you, your life, your activities, your opinions. So you can be a little bit more casual in part one. In part three, you want to be a little bit more professional. You want to be a little bit more technical. Same in part two. So again, this is a little bit tricky during the Ielts exam because it's not really a natural situation. Most of us are either very casual, talking with our friends, or we're very professional, talking with our colleagues, our classmates. But in the Ielts exam, you can actually be both, and that will help your mark if you can do that, or when you do that. So if you're going to be casual at the beginning and in part one. When you're professional, that should be part two and part three. So again, practice, because it's not natural. We usually never have a 15-minute situation in our lives where we switch from casual to professional conversation, but that happens in the exam, okay? So you should be able to switch and practice switching between casual and professional or formal type of conversation, okay? Again, it's awkward. It's not something that we do all the time, but this is an exam. They don't have a better situation. They can't call you in one day for a casual conversation and then call you back a day later for a professional conversation. And the exam would be more expensive. Plus, students probably don't want to do that. They don't want to. We'll have two speaking parts. One on one day, we'll have a casual chit chat. Then we'll call you back another day and have a formal interview. Not going to really work logistically, so they do it all in one go. Okay, so tip. It's okay to use more casual language in part one, but be sure to switch to formal and professional language for part two and especially part three. Okay, it's kind of interesting to keep in mind when you're practicing this as well. That will also show the examiner your range of ability. Okay, that will also show your range of ability. Carolina Asanyo, nice to see you, Carolina, in the class. When should I use outdoors and when should I use outdoor? What is the difference? Yeah, very good. The outdoors, Carolina, usually means like nature. Okay, so outdoors, a way to think about it, Carolina, is the great outdoors. The great outdoors would be like a forest where you go camping. All right, so outdoors, nature, natural environment. Outdoor means you're outside of your home. Okay, so anytime that you're outdoor, you're outside your home. When you're in the outdoors, you're in nature. Very good question, Carolina. Very nice question, right? That S actually does change the meaning a fair bit. So thank you for asking that, right? If I missed some of your questions, just send me an email. I see that there are lots of questions. The Pro, I don't see your question, so just email it to me. Okay, and don't spam with emojis, girls and guys. That's not going to get you what you want, because then everybody will be doing that. Okay. All right. So let's go to the next question. Here we go. Have you ever had to stay at home for a long time without going out? Why? Give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. Okay. Have you ever had to stay at home for a long time without going out? Why? Roshni Kunte says, definitely. I had to isolate myself for the last 3 months due to COVID-19 pandemic, which is a deadly disease. So to protect myself, I had to follow rules like social distancing and the lockdown, whereby I stayed at home and ordered food to my house. I didn't even go to the grocery store. Abhishek says, yes, I'd been at home for the past month due to the current COVID-19 pandemic. There was a 30-day national lockdown in my city, especially in my vicinity, because it was a hot spot of infection. All right. Kyber says, just a sec. Okay. Kyber says, yes, I had to stay at home for a long time due to the pandemic coronavirus because it was a bacteria that was spreading so fast and authorities declared a lockdown for at least 3 months. Kyber, that's good. COVID is a virus, not a bacteria. It's very different. Careful with misinformation. Okay, they will ding you for that. All right. Yeah, COVID would probably be a very popular answer. If there is a situation like that, sure, go ahead and use it. Also, reflect the grammar of the question. It's have you ever had, so it's present perfect. Okay. And maybe be creative. Okay. Also be creative. Yes, I've been isolated to my home a couple of times over the past few years. Most recently, like many others around the globe, because of the pandemic, which forced governments to lock down cities and residents. Aside from that, I stayed at home for a month 2 years ago after breaking my left leg playing floor hockey. All right. So when you can go above and beyond the most obvious answer, you're probably going to pick up some points. So here's my answer. Repeat after me. Have you ever had to stay at home for a long time without going out? Why? Yes, I've been isolated to my home a couple of times over the past few years. Notice my use of present perfect passive here because I'm not doing the isolating. The government is isolating me, or my broken leg is isolating me. So yes, I've been isolated to my home a couple of times over the past few years, most recently, like many others around the globe, because of the pandemic, which forced governments to lock down cities and residents. Aside from that, I stayed at home for a month 2 years ago after breaking my left leg playing floor hockey. Unfortunately, in my case, that's true. All right, students. One more question here. One more question. If you had to stay outside for a whole week, where would you go and why? Give me a nice full sentence answer for that one. Jawan says, if I have to stay outside from my house for a whole week, the place I would go would be a hilly area, as it is summer now, and I want to chill out in a cold place where I can feel relieved. Where is that, Javan? Is there a nice hill where you can stay cool and in the shade near your home? Or maybe somewhere further? Charlie Sen says, well, if I had to stay outside over a week, I would go for a trip to Ladakh, which is a union territory in India, situated in the lap of the Himalayan mountains. It always catches my eye because of its aesthetic beauty. Very nice, Charlie. Good. Nice answer. So you'd go for a nice big hike in the Himalayas or at the foot of the Himalayas. Peya Basak says, if I were allowed to stay outside for 7 days, I would explore Sajek Valley with camping to enjoy the mountains and waterfalls because that's a nice place and a secluded environment. Very nice answer. I like how you paraphrased a week to 7 days. Very good. Madiha says, if I had to stay outside for a week, I would love to go back and revisit the beautiful burning mountains in Azerbaijan. Very nice, Madiha. Good answer. I was a bit curious what people would say to this. It's giving me some good ideas for where I should go travel. Thank you for that. All right. Fahad Kaiti says, if I had to stay out for a week, I would definitely spend it in an area which has lots of beaches like Goa where I can sunbathe and get a tan. Right on, Fahad. Sure. Okay. Here's my answer. Given the situation where I would be outdoors, watch this one, Carolina, for an entire 7 days, I would visit the beautiful, or I would say majestic, Karmana Valley, which is the oldest temperate rainforest in the world and has some of the largest trees on the planet. It would be an amazing adventure, and I would truly enjoy it with friends and family. Okay, and that's on the north part of, central north part of Vancouver Island, which is my home part of the world. Karmana, it's spelled like that, I'm pretty sure. All right, so here we go, students. If you had to stay outside for a whole week, where would you go? Why? Given the situation where I would be outdoors for an entire 7 days, I would visit the majestic Karmana Valley, which is the oldest temperate rainforest in the world and has some of the largest trees on the planet. It would be an amazing adventure, and I would truly enjoy it with friends and family. Students, that's it for today's lesson. I hope you got in lots of speaking practice. If it's not enough, go to the websites where you can practice your speaking for free, as I showed you with other students. Make sure to use that. That's free and for you. aehelp.com for academic IELTS and gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. If you like what you see, use the premium course. That will definitely help you to get better band scores. You'll see lots of HD videos with me for all sections of the IELTS, original practice exams, interactive courses and apps. Lots there to help you. Have a great rest of your day. Hopefully I'll see you at the same time tomorrow. 2 classes tomorrow. Make sure to join us for that. Members, make sure to be in the members chat class. Much love to all of you. Signing out from Budapest, I'm Adrian. Bye for now.